Hello, welcome to episode 27 of the Top 2 Inches Rugby podcast, brought to you by I Spy Surveys, the go-to specialist survey and inspection company based in Exeter, Devon. So, no, we are here. Last week's episode was called The Last Episode. It was obviously released on April Fool's Day. It was a little bit of a joke that me and the editor kind of came up with to see if anybody would notice. To be fair, Ollie did notice and questioned it, didn't find it funny. He lacks humour, that kid. Anyway, so for those out there who might have spotted it, no, it wasn't the last episode. We are here, we are carrying on, we enjoy what we do, and yeah, we'll just, it was a little joke. Anyway, what's coming up on this episode? Ollie and I will be reviewing the start of the Women's Six Nations, the game between England and Scotland, France and Wales respectively. We will also have a little review of how the English teams got on in the Heineken Champions Cup and the Challenge Cup respectively. We will also be reviewing the rearranged fixture in the Allianz Premier 15s between DMP Durham Sharks and Wasps Ladies, and just basically checking in on whatever news is around the game at the moment. Anyway, I'll stop waffling. Let's crack on with this episode. So, as I said in the introduction, there was one game in the Allianz Premier 15s this weekend, which was the rearranged fixture between DMP Durham Sharks and Wasps Ladies. Now, before we get into this weekend's game, I just want to look back at the last time these two teams met, which I believe was in November of 2020, where Wasps Ladies actually scored 105 points and nilled DMP Durham Sharks. So the expectations for this game was that with Wasps flying high in the top four of the league, a similar scoreline could be expected. However, that wasn't the case. So DMP Durham Sharks actually only lost 27-14 against Wasps Ladies, and this was possibly their best game of the season so far. Blacklock scoring all the points for DMP. Now, I appreciate the fact that these points for DMP came in the last 20 minutes of the fixture, but DMP have struggled this season to get tries on the board. I think this is possibly only their third or fourth try in the whole competition. I could be wrong. I'd have to check that. And as I said, Wasp Ladies are currently flying high in the league, top four. They actually might be in third position. So a vastly improved performance by DMP Durham Sharks, and I had a little look on their Facebook page. Huge improvements. Everyone should hold their heads high. Massive progress. Well done to the team. Good effort. So lots of praise there for the ladies over at DMP Durham Sharks. Hello, mate. How are you?
Hello, mate.
You okay?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. So I guess, first off, we need to apologise to our 15 listeners for being late. It's just been a bit of a difficult week to get us both together.
Yeah, busy, isn't it? Busy. So yeah, bit later than normal, but everyone else is late. I think this week is a bank holiday weekend, isn't it? Everyone's late. So.
Yeah, I think also it's about saving the best till last.
Well, on pods coming out, you mean?
On various rugby podcasts orientated, coming out, saving us till the end. Anyway.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, you got to save the best till last.
So the weekend saw a multitude of fixtures ranging from the restart of the Heineken Cup, also the Challenge Cup and the Ladies Six Nations. Let's just start with the European Championship, the Heineken Cup.
Yep.
Wasps versus Clermont Auvergne. And I think we both kind of said we thought Clermont were going to win this one, which they did. So yep. I should also just say we're only going to look at the English teams that are involved in the various competitions as well. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right, isn't it? You missed Friday night though, mate.
Was it Friday night, was it?
Gloucester played Friday, didn't they?
Oh dear, sorry. I've already stitched it up.
But they got smashed by Stade Rochelle, so nothing.
Yes, let's just have a quick look at Gloucester. So I think La Rochelle tipped up to Gloucester. Well, obviously, oh my God. Let's just start right at the beginning. Leinster Toulon cancelled, COVID issues on that one. I think there's been a bit of controversy. I think Toulouse aren't particularly happy with how it all kind of went down. I think
Toulon.
they were told they could fly, and then a positive test turned up in the front row. But because of the contact tracing, they were expected to get rid of the front row they'd selected, the 3 players and the 2, I think, on the bench, and bring in a whole new front row. And I guess that just wasn't possible. And the decision was made by the EPC, I think it is, to award Lens the victory.
Yeah, yeah, totally that, mate. I've not sort of looked into the complete detail of it, but yeah, I heard they're not overly pleased because they got a bit stung with the one of the Greek games on the old COVID regs as well, didn't they? Was it Scarlets?
Yes, it was. Yeah,
Away, I think. But yeah, so I know they voiced not being going, but in reality, I understand if they've got a bit of a grievance about it all. But in reality, it probably would have been a Leinster win anyway, and
yeah,
so it's all kind of irrelevant, isn't it? That's
yeah. No,
COVID's COVID, isn't it? It's messing up
COVID
all
is
things in
COVID,
life. You
and
just got to
safety
get on.
first.
Yeah.
Safety first and all that. So that does take us to La Rochelle against Gloucester. I saw the highlights of this one. Not a bad contest from Gloucester. They were in it to the up until half time. They were only a couple of points behind. But I just think the power of La Rochelle kind of came through in the end, and they end up winning 27-16.
Yeah, I totally agree, mate. It was power being the word, I think, isn't it? They're a seriously powerful side. But yeah, I agree. Gloucester did pretty well, contended fairly well, but then just the power kicked in, and that was it. Game over, wasn't it?
Yeah, which is a shame. I think also old Saracens former player Skelton, he was doing ridiculous offloads and smashing people all over the park. So
yeah, he's quite useful.
Yeah, he's pretty decent, isn't he? At 6'7", and just basically a bit of a monster. So yeah, I mean, obviously sad for Gloucester, but obviously, well, I was going to say they can go back to concentrate on the Premiership, but obviously there's no relegation, so it doesn't really matter.
Well, I suppose next year's Euro qualification is the goal, the aim now, isn't it, for the lower side?
True, very true, very true. So if we stick to the Heineken Cup, that moves us on to Saturday, and as I said, Clermont-Auvergne's game against Wasps. I think we were both expecting Clermont to give Wasps a bit of a hiding, and I did actually get to watch this game, and bloody hell, talk about fast pace, interplay, and Wasps unfortunately just lost it at the death to a late on try. Wasps were fully in this game, fully submerged in it, and could quite easily have gone into the quarterfinals, but obviously Clermont kind of snatched it at the death. Interesting, I say. I given the form of Wasps in the Gallagher Premiership, I was surprised, but I think when you've got people like Launchbury, Dan Robson back in the team, players of that caliber, it just kind of galvanises the rest of the squad together. And obviously Adogu was back. He scored a fantastic try straight off the bat. And they just looked a bit of a better team all round. But then obviously the experience maybe of Clermont in this competition, Fofana and scrum half Parra came on via Mahina. They just had that little extra edge, that kind of never give up attitude.
Yeah, no, totally agree, mate. I think just fair play to Wasps at the end of the day, wasn't it? Because like you say, I think probably most people like us predicted it was going to be a bit of a pants down job for Wasps, wasn't it? But they put up a huge contest and could quite easily have won it, couldn't they? Like you say, so unlucky not to win in the end. But power and experience and all the rest of a well-established, at the end of the day, a well-established Heineken Cup side, Clermont, aren't they, historically? So sort of came through at the end, didn't it? But, and probably the right result, in all honesty, as far as the competition overall, isn't it? But good. It's just, I think overall, just good to see Wasps actually get a decent, pretty much 80-minute performance in, isn't it? Because they've been quite majorly stuttering the last half a dozen or so performances, isn't it? So hope they can get that sort of take that momentum back into the Premiership now, isn't it? Because they've got a bit of fighting to do for the rest of this season, haven't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think to get, they're going to be disappointed, but to get that kind of a hard fought, good performance in is probably going to, like you say, it's going to stand them well.
Confidence, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, for the return to the Premiership. So then the next game being Exeter Leon, and we both obviously went for an extra victory, but bloody hell, Leon came out fighting. I got to watch the majority of this game. Kids under the stairs, obviously. Leon were kind of 2 tries up, 14 points ahead within the space of about, I don't know, the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, yeah,
And I'm sat there watching it thinking, bloody hell, Exeter are looking a bit shaky here. They're looking a bit, making uncharacteristic errors. And I kind of thought, this could be the champions kind of going out if Lyon kind of continue throughout the whole game. But then Exeter do what Exeter do. A switch obviously must have gone on somewhere. They clawed their way back into the game by half time. I think half time was 17-14 to Lyon. No, sorry, 26-20 to Exeter. I got that wrong. So, and then Exeter in the second half just do what Exeter do, beat the shit out of people, score the points and take the victory. It was a really, really impressive performance, and one I think they probably needed given into the fact that they're now going to be at home to Leinster.
Yeah, massively. I think it's probably, especially the second half, but probably sort of second half of the first half and the second half was just all less Exeter really. There's only ever going to be one winner, I think, once they got back to fairly level and took the lead at half time, wasn't it? But good, yeah, like you say, out of the blocks by Leon. But I know Baxter said Exeter sort of errors and rustiness was down to he thought down to this. He obviously brought all the big international names back in for this game, so just lacked a bit of cohesion there, isn't it? Which he said luckily that sort of ironed out the longer the game went on, wasn't it? So but yeah, I totally agree. They just they turned it around and they were looking really strong come the end, weren't they? So good again, momentum-wise, good momentum going into a big game next week for them, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think Leinster are going to be obviously a different proposition, but I do just wonder. I don't think Leinster have played for a few weeks. I think they obviously had the final of the Pro 14 when they beat Munster, but I don't think many of the big guns were out in that game.
No, I think I totally agree. I think although the Toulon COVID decided game has given them a bye to the quarterfinals, actually I think they would have been better off getting some game time and having a bit of a contest, isn't it? Running into going away to Chiefs now next week, but we shall see. We'll leave that for predictions, shall we?
Well, let's just finish off the results and we'll whiz back over the predictions because I'm just very aware. You're very busy and I'm quite busy as well. So apologies if this feels a little bit rushed. Bristol, bless them, away at Bordeaux Beagles. Obviously, previous season, Bristol beat them in the Challenge Cup in injury time or extra time, I think it was. I haven't seen this one. I saw some highlights. Bordeaux looked good value, came out on top 36-17. Overall, half-time again, Bristol were in the game. It was only 15-14. But I'm just wondering if the French power, again, kind of maybe Bristol weren't ready for the French power, ready for what they kind of offered. And, well, I suppose realistically they should be available. They should have known, shouldn't they? Because they played them last season. But in the end, it was quite a convincing victory for Bordeaux.
Yeah, totally agree, to be honest. I mean, I don't massively follow sort of top 14 rugby, but so I don't know all that much about Bordeaux, other than they're sort of one of the sides who seem to be getting progressively stronger over the last couple of seasons. They're doing fairly well in the top 14, I think, having a good run this season, aren't they? But it was a bit of a surprise. I thought that was always going to be a tough ask for Bristol, but thought maybe with the way they've been going with sort of grinding out results as they have been in the Prem, that they may have done a job on Bordeaux, but didn't go that way, did it? So they're a strong side, Bordeaux, certainly, aren't they?
Absolutely. And I guess, although obviously Pat Lam would want to have been kind of fighting two fronts with the Premiership and the Heineken Cup, maybe now, Bristol will just obviously be just focusing on the Premiership, and maybe kind of getting knocked out might enhance their chances of taking this Premiership this season. Maybe we'll have to wait and see.
I would agree, mate. I would say that them being knocked out is probably the worst thing that could happen for the other title contenders, Chiefs and such like, isn't it? Because, like you say, they can just put 100% focus on the Premiership now, isn't it? I don't know whether Baxter's open, no, not Baxter, Pat Lamb's actually openly stated what their aims are for this season. I know last season he was quite outward speaking, saying the Challenge Cup was the goal, wasn't it? And they literally sacrificed the Prem, or having a proper go at the final stages of the Prem, didn't they? For basically getting a cup, getting some silverware. So whether or not the focus is Premiership over Heineken this season, I don't know whether he's actually outwardly publicised that, but I know that's the way they tend to work, isn't it? They sort of focus on
one thing.
Yeah, just as a long term building the club sort of thing, getting the trophies in the cabinet.
Absolutely. Well, let's be fair, mate. Pat Lam probably knows a little bit more than us. Only a little, but
Yeah, maybe just a little bit.
Just a tad.
Back row stuff, maybe.
So then that brings us on to the final game on the Sunday. Sale's absolute pummeling of Scarlets. I mean,
wow, yeah.
Sweet baby Jesus. I never expected that. Scarlets are a decent side, but by half time the game was pretty much over. It was 23-0 to Sale. Van der Merwe, the little hooker, he's got a couple of tries. McGinty and Yard, Beaumont, and the new scrum half, Faf de Kurt's replacement Quirk, got a try as well. Sale just looked rampant. There's not a great deal you can kind of say. They had the power game, the pace game, and under Sanderson, their game just looks to be kind of like an all courts scenario. Really, they can come at you through grunt and power and force, or they can throw the ball around and pretty much take you apart that way. I mean, Scarlets did get a couple of tries back in the second half, but it's still a flattering scoreline, should we say, to Sale. I mean, they nearly got 60. It was 57-14.
Yeah, I totally agree, mate. It's one of the big shock sort of results of the weekend, I would say, isn't it? That I don't think anyone would have anticipated. You might have said Sale are going to go and get a win, but you wouldn't have anticipated in that nature and that scoreline. Certainly, that was a big shock. I mean, that Scarlet side, they had all their big guns back. It's pretty much half, if not more, of the Welsh team that have just won the Six Nations. I mean, maybe that might have come into it, sort of a Six Nations hangover type situation, isn't it? But even with that, you would have thought they would have contested a little bit more. But just certainly only one team in that one, isn't it? Absolutely. The Sanderson effect looks to be building now with Sale, isn't it? So
yeah, definitely. So let's just look on to the quarterfinal next weekend, the predictions. So Sale go to La Rochelle.
Yep.
Ooh. If it was at Sale's ground, I might have said Sale take the victory, but I think probably La Rochelle take that one.
Agreed. It's tough, isn't it? Actually, I think it's potentially a cracking quarterfinal round. I think they're all potentially really big contests and fairly close, and almost could go either way, isn't it? I think Sale could get that, but I agree with you. I think La Rochelle will be getting that. They just look so powerful, I thought, this last weekend. So, although Sale did as well, but
it's gonna be an interesting one, definitely. Exeter, Leinster.
Ooh, Exeter.
I think
there you Exeter, go. I'm out. Exeter.
I think Exeter, but maybe just a 3 to 6 point victory for them. It's going to be a hell of a contest. One I'm definitely going to try and lock the kids under the cupboard to watch.
And then on the Sunday, one of those, isn't it? I think that's potentially a huge contest. Leinster certainly could easily go down and get the result there, but I think, like we said just previously in the pod, I think the missing the game last week will be a negative to Leinster, as in they're going to sort of lose momentum, whereas Exeter will be gaining momentum. And also Leinster are still missing a few big guns, aren't they? Ryan's out, isn't he? And Ringrose is out, and a couple of others. So you want to get on, don't you? So Chiefs.
No, sorry, mate. I'm just thinking of you. I know you're on the road and stuff. So let's just touch quickly. So the other quarterfinals, Racing against Bordeaux. all French affair. Going to be an interesting one, but I think Racing take that one.
Yeah, again, it could go either way, mate. I'm going to go Racing as well, just because I like Racing. Obviously with Finn Russell, etc. So
He won't be playing though, mate. He'll still be banned.
he's still is he? Oh yeah, he's banned, isn't he? Yeah. What did he get? Was it 3 weeks for that?
3 games.
Yeah. But yeah, obviously with or without him playing, I like Racing and their sort of style of play and stuff. But yeah, could be close, but I'm going to back Racing as well.
Okay, Toulouse, Clermont.
Again, mate. It could go either way. Yeah, but personally, although I've got a bit of a feel that Clermont and their power might do it, I just think the way Toulouse are going and the rugby they're playing, they're potentially the team to stop this year. So I'm going Toulouse for that one.
I would agree. Okay, so that gets us on to the Challenge Cup. And I'll be honest, I literally have only watched the Leicester game.
Really, I watched them all, mate. I watched them all.
Did you? Good lad.
In full 80 minutes. No, mate. I watched a little bit, but not enough. But there we go. Reviewed it all, mate. Bath were unreal as usual.
Mate, they were behind 14-0 to start with. But
yeah, it's never in doubt. Never in doubt.
Oh, I don't know. Came out on top 35-27 against Zebra, so nice that they progressed to the next round.
It's a bit like the Chiefs game in some ways, with a completely out of the blocks by Zebra, wasn't it? But Bath, yeah, certainly once they got back in contention and took the lead, I didn't think there was ever any doubt who was actually going to win. And overall, it was actually a pretty good performance in the end, other than conceding a few too many. But
fair enough. London Irish, Cardiff Blues. London Irish staged a bit of a comeback on this one, I think, and I think they surprised Cardiff Blues. 41-35 in the end. I think it was Rona. Rona got the try right at the end to take the victory away from Cardiff.
Yeah, cracking comeback. I think that was looked like it was over, I think, wouldn't it? But Paddy Jackson, pretty impressive again.
Yeah, they're looking good, Irish.
Yeah, it's unfortunate they're going to go out next round, but there we go.
Yeah, of course, because it's Irish against Bath, isn't
it?
Yeah. Falcons at Ospreys, again, another tight affair. Falcons coming out on top 28-24.
Yeah, I have to say, mate, actually, just look at just a quick... It was a really good round of rugby, wasn't it? I thought there was some fantastic games, some fantastic rugby, loads of tries and some close scores, a lot of comebacks. It was an exciting round of rugby overall, wasn't it? It's just,
yeah, I
know it's the first time we've ever had a last 16, but it's quite nice to get an additional knockout round, isn't it? In this makes it a bit interesting, but
makes it a bit more edgy.
Yeah, but yeah, another tight game and a good sort of fight back from
win for Falcons.
Newcastle. Yeah.
Saints again. I think Saints came back from behind and
they were well down.
43-39 victory against the Dragons. So
yeah. The Welsh clubs haven't done so well, have they? That's right.
No, it's interesting, isn't it? Interesting how I think I saw this meme. I think it was that Wales do good at international level, but poor. I don't know. In the kind of domestic leagues in terms of Europe and stuff.
Yeah, don't know what it is, mate. Don't know what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the Leicester Tigers had a nice victory, 48-32 against Connacht.
Yep.
Leicester's obviously they didn't put a full strength team out, but bloody hell, they played some good rugby. They were strong, they were aggressive, some really nice rolling maul tries. Some really nice tries through the backs. Maroney and Porter, Henry got a really nice try. Leicester, mate, I'm telling you, just to go aside from top 4 of the Gallagher Premiership, no doubt.
Top 4, you're still on that.
I am.
No, they're building. They're definitely. We've said it before, mate. They're building, aren't they? They're building. He's doing some good stuff there, Borthwick. Looking sort of improvements and stronger game on game. So that's all you can hope for at the moment, isn't it? Keep that going. You never know what can happen, mate.
Absolutely. And then on Sunday,
the Ulster Prem. That's the.
We'll see. And then Sunday, Ulster kind of put a second string Harlequins to the sword, 57-21.
Yeah.
Quins are quite clearly focusing on the Premiership. They want the Premiership, top 4. I think that pretty much explains itself. They've just thrown the towel in and let Ulster take the victory.
Yeah, can't really say much more than that. Ulster are a strong, pretty strong European side, aren't they? Quins, like you say, Quins just went up for contesting that one, obviously.
No, absolutely. So that sets up some interesting games. So you're going to predict Bath take London Irish.
Yep.
And I'm going to say Irish just to be controversial.
Well, it could be a very good contest, but I just think, and certainly hugely hope that Bath will get revenge, or however you want to word it, for the last result. Actually, we've lost out points on both Premiership fixtures within this season. So Bath.
Falcons go to Newcastle. Falcons go to Tigers. Tigers.
Agreed.
Oh, interesting. I thought you'd just go Falcons to be a twat.
I'm feeling nice this week, mate.
Oh, that's really nice. It's lovely to hear. And then Ulster go to Saints. That's going to be a really good contest.
Yeah,
I think.
Go on.
I was going to say I think Ulster take that one.
Yeah, I was going to go Ulster as well. It could be like you say, a real ding dong that one. The Saints are playing some lovely rugby, but Ulster are just a bit stronger, more sort of at the moment, especially on the European front. And I like Ulster as well. Certainly, the cracking halfbacks they've got, Cooney and Billy Burns, isn't it? So
yeah,
I think they might pick that one.
Cool. Did you start the Women's Six Nations? Did you get to see any of that?
No, I didn't see anything live. No.
So I watched the games. England put Scotland to the sword. Came out on top, 52-10. Fantastic first half performance. I think Scotland kind of came back into the game quite well in the second half, and maybe England are going to be a little bit disappointed with how they kind of finished the second half. There was a red card, I think, for Scotland in the 63rd minute, which probably helped to England reestablishing control and knocking over a few more points. But certainly Scotland played themselves back into the game. And I guess England, although will be happy, potentially might be a little bit disappointed they didn't score more tries.
Yeah, it's from what I saw, mate, I didn't unfortunately get to watch any of it live, but it could well be disappointed with the sort of the overall performance of the second half and letting a couple in and that sort of thing. But it's still a drubbing, really, wasn't it? 52-10. Yeah. That was my general take of the round. The two fixtures. There's only two sides out of the four in the competition, really, isn't it? With England and France. I know those two are the hot favourites contesting for the tournament, but it's almost like there's quite clearly a void, similarly to Italy in the men's game, isn't it? A sort of a gap between them and the four. There's almost England and France appear to have a bit of a gap with the rest of the teams, isn't it? But it would be interesting to see if there is any change on that. But that's the way it's looking from the off, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And then France literally put Wales to the sword, 53-0 victory. Again, first half performance, 31-0 at half time. Wales came back into the game, but obviously couldn't get on the scoreboard. Boujard scored a hat-trick. Gross got 2. France women, I think, like you say, they're the title contenders with England. It's going to be an interesting ding-dong. Because obviously this season, there's like in the autumn championship, there's 2 leagues. Top 2 play, second 2 play, third play, to kind of get the overall standing. So I'm imagining an England-France final, which will be totally worth watching because obviously England are the defending champions. They won it last time whilst they, against France last year. So it's going to be a really, really interesting contest.
Yeah, it will, mate. It'll be good, especially if it does, like you say, pan out like that. That'll be a cracking final, won't it? England,
Yeah.
France will be definitely a good one to watch. Did I say I don't know all the for my sins? I don't know all the players. As well as I know the men's game, only a relatively new follower of the women's international game. But is it there's twin sisters playing in the side? Is it Cleely? What are they called?
Keel. Poppy
Keel.
Keel. Yeah.
Both got tries, didn't they?
Yeah.
That's
Two
pretty
two
awesome.
really good rugby players, mate. I think the prop's just come back from a long spell off, so it was good
Okay.
that she's back in the squad. But they are two bloody top notch players, and you've got the likes of Emily Scarrett, and you've got
Yes,
Helena
yeah.
Rowlands, I think it is at fly half.
And Marley
Yeah,
Packer got
England have
another
got
try, didn't
quality
she?
all over, but so have France. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
it's
I
going to
think
be
they're two. It's obviously the women's game is sort of
you're breaking up a bit,
professionally.
mate.
Hello, mate. Can you hear me?
I think we're going to lose you.
Hello. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
All right. Hello.
Listen, mate, I've definitely lost you. We'll wrap things up there. Thanks very much again for making time, and we'll catch up again soon. Yeah.
Okay, mate. Yeah, if you can hear me, thank you very much. Speak to you next week.
See you soon.
Cheers.
That brings episode 27 to an end. Thank you very much for listening, downloading. I hope you enjoyed the episode as much as we did bringing it to your ears. We are obviously on all various platforms, ranging from YouTube, Spotify, Anchor, and Apple Podcasts. We are also over on Twitter at Top 2 Inches RP, and as we know, Ollie is over on Insta. It's at the Top 2 Inches on Insta. I can't remember what it is actually. So yeah, come along, give us a follow, subscribe. All the kind of episodes drop into the feeds when they're available. It just leaves me to say once again, thank you to I Spy Surveys for sponsoring the podcast. If there are any other companies out there that want to get involved with us and would like us to give you a mention on the podcast, please drop us a line through Twitter. The email address is on there. We are kind of getting a following going. We are up to about 14 listeners now, so which we're absolutely ecstatic about. Anyway, that just leaves me to bring this episode to a conclusion. Thank you once again, and we will be back next week.